Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, Smith Shack's Custom Baits. Today we're going to continue the series on knowing bass. We're starting chapter 4 today, and just like the other chapters, will be a little bit of technical stuff in the first couple episodes, and then we'll start getting into more stuff that actually pertains to fishing, how we can apply things that we can apply to fishing. So today, what's chapter 4 about? Chapter 4 is about the bass's senses of hearing and their lateral line, how they detect vibrations in the water. When a bass, well, any fish really, when they move through the water, or even your lures, right? Let's throw that out there too. Moves through the water. Anything that's moving through the water, it creates two different types of sound, as it were, that a fish can detect. First is the strong microcurrents that happen as the fish swims, or your lure. Your lure probably isn't going to create the same level of microcurrents in most cases that that a fish does, unless you're using like a 16-inch squid bait or something, you know. Pardon me. That was bad. There's my coffee coming back at me, talking to me. I needed some coffee today because my motivation level was down below the basement somewhere, and it seems to be helping. But the second way, the second type of sound that's created when something's moving through the water is as it moves through the water, those water molecules get pushed out of the way, and those push on other molecules, which push on other molecules ad nauseum, right? Think of it like when you throw a lure out in the water, or rock even, whatever. When it hits the water, you get those rings on the surface, spread out. They just keep going until eventually you can't detect them anymore. Well, the same thing happens with with objects moving through the water. Only happens under the water where we can't see it. Swimming fish generate pretty strong localized currents, and even your lure can be seen that way. But even a fish that is just coasting through the water still generates currents. They're just not as strong. All right. Noise levels in the water, or noise pollution as it's called, is much higher in the water than it is in the air. Right? When they first started using sonar, the sonar operators were amazed at just how noisy the oceans are. Right? I mean, there is crap loads of noise in the ocean. You can probably go on YouTube, or you're on YouTube now, but you can probably find videos where they talk about this and even illustrate the different levels of noise in the water. I've considered making a hydrophone system that I can put in my ear, with earbuds, whatever, headphones, whatever, so I can listen to my lures coming through the water and maybe even hear the fish strike it. I had something years ago. I forget what it was called, but it broke real quick. It didn't last even. I think I used it 3 times, and then the stuff quit working. So that was not great. I think we paid like $100 for it like 20 years ago. I forget what it was called, but it would be nice to try to find something like that again, or maybe make my own at some point. But let's get back to the subject. Bass have inner ears, which are encased in the bone in their head, and then they have a lateral line system. You know, we pretty much all know about the lateral line that runs the length of their body, but I was surprised to find out that they also have a lateral line system on their head, and we'll get into the differences between those two later in this chapter. But the lateral lines, it's composed of a series of canals on not just on the trunk of their body, but also on their head. The lateral line on and I am making use of my notes here again. I'll be doing that throughout the entire book. So there's certain things I don't want to miss, and I write them down. So I practice a little bit ahead of time, so I don't have to like actually sit here acting like I'm reading from it, because I don't want to do that either. But the trunk canal has a series, has some specialized scales on it, on that lateral line, in addition to the canals. The canal is made up of basically a series of pores, pairs of pores, that allow water to come in one side and come back out the other one, right? Now inside those canals is a gelatin-like substance, and within that substance is something called the neuromass that has hair-like fibers extending off it. So when the water moves through, it stimulates that gelatin substance and the hair-like um, I'm lost for a word here. I need to practice this like 3 times. Hair like Celia or whatever they're called. That those are what gets stimulated, and that's how the bass detects the vibrations and the currents. The ear. Bass only have an inner ear. Okay, they don't have like this, like we do. They have an ear canal. But inside that inner ear are inside each one are 3 semicircular canals that help the bass. Well, they don't just help the bass. That's how the bass maintains its equilibrium. Like our inner ears help us stand up straight. Okay, we can walk along without falling over because of how our inner ears are constructed. Well, the same thing with the bass. They can stay upright in the water because of how their inner ears are constructed. Okay. Hair-like protrusions. Protrusion is the word I was looking for. I just looked at my notes. I should have looked at my notes. That's why I have them. Inside those inner ears are 3 stones called otoliths. Otolith. I think I said that right. Pardon me. They're a calcified stone, and they have a sensory patch on them. Okay. And that's what gets stimulated that allows the bass to hear. Okay. A little bit of gee whiz information here. Those stones are the shape of each one is the shape of those stones in a largemouth bass differentiate enough from, say, a smallmouth bass or a spotted bass that they can tell which species that ear stone belongs to based on the shape. They can also tell how old the fish was based on growth rings on those stones. Now, how does that's information there help us catch fish? It doesn't. Gee whiz information. This video is a little bit short. I didn't want it to be too long. I don't want it to be too boring. Because this is building up to something to the other episodes later. So I think we'll cut this one off here. And if you liked what you saw, hit the like button, please. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Both of those things help the channel. Obviously, the more subscribers I get, the closer I get to monetizing the channel. And hitting that like button helps with YouTube showing the video to other people in their suggested videos, in their watch list, that stuff in the sidebar. So if you could do that, it'd be great too. And share the videos. Not many of you do it, but for those who do, thank you very much. And if you're not doing it, I just ask you if you would do that, because that's another way you can help us out here. Because again, it puts it in front of more people. So until next time, folks, tight lines, calm waters, and God bless.